Hello, good morning. My name is Raven Blow, and today I will be doing an open interview on Mr. Stanley Pollock. Hello, Stanley. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine with yourself.
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So today, Stanley, I will just be asking you just a few questions just to get to know you more. Okay, Stanley, tell me a little more about yourself.
So my name is Stanley Pollock. I was born in an island in the Caribbean. The island's name is Dominica, not the Dominican Republic. A lot of people get those mixed up. I grew up in a house with my mother, my grandma, and my big sister, right by the beach. So we used to spend a lot of time at the beach. Used to go down to the farmers market. I remember getting these little cool cup kind of things. They was in like a bag kind of though. I remember they was orange flavored. They was quite delicious. We used to climb the mango trees, apples, oranges, and all that. Straight from the earth and different things like that. So had a pretty pleasant time growing up on the island, if I do say so myself. I've been in the States since I was about 5, though, so.
Okay, so Stanley, how did you guys reside in Houston, Texas?
To be honest, my mom came to Houston before I did. She came here, I think, a year before and then she sent for my big sister. And then I was actually staying with my dad, and he brought me up here. But our first stop was in Canada. So we stayed in Canada for a little while. And then my auntie, which is my dad's sister, actually took me from Canada and brought me to New York. We had slight complications around that time. They thought she was trying to smuggle a child in. So we had to, wait at the border for a couple of days, wait for some paperwork to get sent over and sent through and things like that. And then, I spent about a year in New York. And then after that, my mom came and picked me up from New York and brought me down here to Houston.
Okay, that's great to hear. And okay, as you're growing up as a child, Stanley, did your family, your mom or dad, ever discuss race issues with you guys growing up?
No, not one time that I can remember, to be honest. Coming from a small island, it was a lot of love, it was a lot of help out your neighbor, do right by your neighbor and different things like that. So, you know, just it was always just spreading the love. So, to be honest, I thought that the whole world was like that, to be honest. I thought, it was a lot of peaches and cream out here, so everything was good and, everybody loved everybody equally. And, I wasn't even aware that one race had such a head start on the other races, and the way capitalism is set up, and it's crazy, to be honest. But when I was younger, we never went over that, or nothing of the sort. So
Right, right. So, as you got older, did you ever encounter any race problems with another race outside of your race?
well, to be honest, I think the first time was when I was in the second grade. I had a situation where, but I didn't know that it was racism at the time. I just thought, I really didn't know what it was, to be honest. So it was my second grade teacher. And I can't really remember what was going on in the classroom, but I remember that we used to put our backpacks in like the back kind of office, not a back office, but a back closet kind of situation. So one day I remember walking by the closet, and I can't really remember the situation, but the teacher actually like pushed me into the closet, and it wasn't like a bump, it was actually like a physical push, because I remember hitting my shoulder on the closet, and kind of sliding to the ground. And it wasn't nothing that made me boo-hoo or nothing like that, but it was kind of confusing to me. I was like, why would this teacher do that? So when I went home, I brought it up to my parents, and then they came to the school, raised all kind of hell at the school and different things like that. I was transferred out of that teacher's classroom and then placed into another classroom, and then about a month later, she was disciplined from the school and wasn't working there anymore. But at the time I still didn't know, like, she just didn't like me because maybe I was black, or different things like that. I just thought, I don't know, I think I chunked it up that she could have been having a bad day that day, but I didn't know until I got older, that there was a lot of racism, a lot of hate, out here in the world and different things like that. So
Right, right. And I do understand you on that. So, I mean, if there's any type of feedback that you would like to give people of your race to react on certain situations, how will you tell them to respond if they was to, encounter on a race issue?
well, first off, you gotta know what's right, you gotta know what's wrong. Then you gotta be confident of what you're speaking about. So I guess what I'm saying is that they gotta do the research, they gotta feed their brains, because knowledge is power out here, to be honest. Now sometimes when you run into it with these racist people and these hateful kind of situations, knowing what you're talking about always is not going to be enough. but it's always good to know what you're talking about, so you always know where you stand. For me, I like to be in control of most situations. So it's just, it just goes back to, teaching yourself, because sometimes, you're not going to have that parent present at home, because I know sometimes a lot of parents, they have to work, extreme hours just to put food on the table. So, as you got to take it up on your own self, to make sure that you reading this, you reading that, you studying this, and you studying that, and you also got to feed your body right. You got to take care of yourself, because I mean the journey is long out here. It's a long journey to get where you're trying to go. So you can't try to cut the corners, and you can't try to do anything like that, because shortcuts not going to take you to success. You got to go the long route to get to the success. So it's a lot of bumps in the road, but you just got to put your best foot forward. And like I said, you got to feed your mind, because knowledge is power.
Right, right. And you being the person you are today, Stanley, I just want to know what made you choose Texas Southern University to attend?
Well, I remember when we was in high school, we went to a couple college tours, and when I went to TSU, it's like TSU just captured me. Just everything about it. Just the presence of seeing a lot of my brothers and sisters. And successful positions. The dean was colored. Most of the administrators was colored. And then it was just a whole lot of just the culture of the campus. The live music playing, the Ocean of Thunder band, just different things like that. I love that burgundy and white. I'm a
Right.
fan.
And as attending Texas Southern, Stanley, what major did you study?
Education.
Education.
Hmm.
And has education helped you in your career today?
Yeah, it has actually. I'm working as a counselor at a nonprofit organization. So the kids come in with various issues, and I just because I think I've experienced a lot, and I just got this talent to be able to put myself in anybody's position, because I could see things from my side, but I could also flip it and look at it from another person's perspective, and that's something that I don't think a lot of people can do out here, is to be able to not judge a person, but put yourself in that person's shoes and try to feel what they really going through. So I feel like the time that I spent at the different levels in my life is I'm definitely able to impact the youth by being able to give them back strong words of wisdom and different things like that. So
Right, right. And if you can give me one, just any moment that you can remember from Texas Southern while you were from your freshman year to your senior year, has there been any moment that that you can remember, any tragic moment that never left your sight, or any type of historical moment that you remember while attending Texas Southern?
well, from a tragic standpoint, my man Drake White Josh, man, I never really knew his real name, but it was this guy that I met. He was super cool, super laid back. We met when we had similar interest at one of our females friends' house one time, and me and the guy just was kicking it tough. But I remember one night, it was an altercation going on, and my man Josh, he ended up, he was just out there. We was actually just out there speculating, and I ended up leaving because I had to go handle some business, and it was just crazy. Like later that night, I was trying to get in contact with him, and my man ended up he was shot, and he died on the scene. But like I said, he didn't have nothing to do with the situation. He was just there, so that was kind of one of the things from a tragic standpoint. And then just I guess one of the things that happened that I was probably most proud of was, I mean, it didn't really have nothing to do with the college, but it took place on the college campus. Was my high school basketball team actually played a playoff game inside the basketball arena. So that was probably one of my proudest moments, because I was still real close with a lot of those guys, and just seeing them, getting that experience, getting to play on the college court was pretty cool, and real nice of TSU to letting them take place in the gym and stuff like that. So
Right. And if you can remember for me, Stanley, not pretty sure if you still, visit your campus today, since you graduated, but how can you explain to me how was TSU then when you were a freshman, and how is it now since that that you're a graduate from there?
well, to be honest, when I was a freshman, the campus was pretty wild. This was, back in 2009. The campus was pretty wild. Like, the campus was pretty wild. But there was a lot of stuff going on. Like, to be honest, I could be honest, it's, drugs, a lot of sex, a lot of drugs, just different things like that. So it was really a toxic environment if you wasn't able to strap on and do your thing and go handle your business like you're supposed to. Nowadays it's a lot more structure. They got the campus looking nice. They working on different things, they adding on to it, so they actually starting to make it look like like a top tier university. Not saying that it wasn't one back then, but compared to the way it looks now, I think they're doing an excellent job with trying to control different things and not have it as out of control as it once was. But I just feel like they're doing a real good job with it now.
Okay, that's awesome to hear, Stanley. And while you were attending Texas Southern, is there any type of way that you can, was the professors, staff members, were there interacting with the students when you were a freshman, how they are now?
Well, to be honest, the times that I visit the campus now, I see a lot more, of the staff, walking around versus, back then. It used to seem like it was a lot of, excuse me, excuse me. It seemed like it was a lot of them, going to class, leaving class, probably leaving the campus. But, now when sometimes when I hit the Tiger Walk, it's a lot of, I see a lot of staff, a lot of development going on. So it seems like they taking a little bit more of the hands-on approach with things versus,
Right.
back when I was going there, it was more like, it's all up to you. I mean, it's still only going to be up to you, but it was, it just seems a little bit more hands-on now, like they putting a little bit more effort into it. So
Right, and that's really a good thing to hear. So, I mean, now that I got to know you more, and we got to know a lot of experience that you had throughout Texas Southern attending the HBCU, what type of encouragement will you give to our students today that's attending the HBCUs?
same thing, like I said earlier, like knowledge is power. So you have this opportunity placed in front of you to get a higher education. So you should take it and run with it the first time. You don't want to end up flunking out. You don't want to end up getting on academic probation. You don't want to do that to yourself. You just got to go ahead and focus, because you got a lot of time to party. I know it's a lot of distractions and different things like that, between this, that, and the third. But you just got to put your best foot forward, and you got to do good for you and your family. Like, for real, your name gonna live on, y'all. That's one thing that's gonna live on. So you gotta put your best foot forward for that.
Right, and that's the same thing I would say. Is want to make sure our students also strive for success and make sure we stay in school. So, I mean, thank you so much, Stanley, for doing this